Hi, in this video I'll talk about Angular material tables with the sorted headers. As you can see on my screen, this is the official documentation of Angular material, and I have opened the table link. And this is the heading of sorting, and it is showing me how to sort using the headers mat sort directive to the mat table data source, but it doesn't give us a really good example how to implement mat table data source for sorting our table using the headers. So this was a problem I was facing for a long time. So I have figured it out how to use this mat table data source directive for sorting. As you can see, this is the table, and using these headings we can sort these items of this table using these headers. So for the data of showing in the table, I'll be using this public JSON placeholder endpoint, and I'll be giving this link in the description below. And it is an array that contains around 10 objects representing users. And for just giving you an idea how to create tables with a sorted header, I won't be using all the properties of these object. Instead, I'll be using name, username, and email, and you can use other object. Obviously you will have your own data for working with the tables. This is just for example. And again, if you want to learn from book and you want to learn in depth, I'll be giving this the link of these two books in the description. These are really good books and you will learn a lot. And specifically this book, it covers up 70 plus project, and you will able to learn how to create a real world and practical projects. So this is an empty project that I just created, and these are the files that were created by default when I created a new project using ngCli. And in my app.module.ts I need to import few modules for animations, for material, for HTTP client, for using that public endpoint for getting the data for users. And so let's import few modules. But before importing modules, if I go to package.json file, I can see that we don't have Angular material and Angular animations module added right here. So for working with Angular material dependent on Angular animation, so we need to add Angular animations and Angular material. So in my terminal, I've navigated to the project, and using the npm I can install Angular material and Angular animation. So first install Angular animations by writing npm install --save at Angular /animations. And it will take some time. It will download this module from the internet, and it will add the dependency of this Angular animation within this dev dependency or these dependencies object, and will add this module in our node modules folder right here. So let's wait for it. So you can see it has installed Angular /animations module, and it has added its link right here within the dependencies object. Now let's go and create our material dependency material. All right, so it has installed Angular material module and added it right here within the dependencies object. So these were the two things that needed to be added right here. So we are done. So let's go to app.module.ts file within the app folder, and we need to import these modules right here before using it. So let's import HTTP client module. And this is from Angular /common/HTTP. all right, and after that let's add our animations module. So I will be using browser animations module, and this is from at Angular /platform browser /animations. And after that let's import our table module and sort module for sorting the table. So let's use mat table module comma mat sort module, and this is from Angular /material. all right, and After that, we need to create a service as well as our component, and in that component I will be implementing all the logic and will be showing our table. So for you adding these components and services, let's create those component and service right here in the terminal, and I will use ng component, and I will name this component user table. So press enter, and it will take some time. It will add a new folder within this app directory, and it will create this new user table component within this folder. So it has added right here user table along with its required files, TS file, spec file for unit testing, and so let's create our service. For the service, let's use the service right here and name the service as user. So again, it will create the service right here within the app folder. So you can see it has created this service right here, and it has also added the dependencies and the links of these services right here. This is the user table component, and we need to add the service right here. So I will add import user service from dot user service. All right, and in order to use this service within any of our component, we need to add this user service within our providers. Okay, and after that, all the modules that I added right here, HTTP client, browser, and these table modules that are needed to be added within these imports array as well. Okay, so for adding these, let's add those things. So first of all, let's copy and paste HTTP client module. Let's paste it, and we have this animation module, and then we have mat table module, and after that we have this mat sort module, and I think we are done with adding these modules. And this user table component needed to be added within this declaration array, and that was already added by default. So we are done with this file. So now let's go to our app.component.html, and I'm going to comment all these things. Let's do it, and these are commented. Now let's go to our user table component.ts file, and this is the app dash user table, and I will be using that element right here. So within the app component, all the content of our user table component will be shown up. Okay, so to verify this, let's go and run our application by writing ng serve to verify if it works well up till now. So it is giving me error that it can't find module angular/cdk. So we need to install npm install --save at angular/cdk. So press enter, and it will download this module and it will install it in our project. Now let's enter ng serve to run our application. So it has compiled application successfully. Let's go to our browser and navigate to localhost /4200, and our application must run fine. You can see it is showing user table works because we added our user table element right here. So let's go to our project and move further. Let's keep this project running, and first of all, let's go to our service and let's implement and fetch the data from that JSON object right here, and using this URL. So let's open our project and let's navigate to our service, and this is our service, and it has by default imported our injectable module, and Now we need to import few modules right here in order to use. So as I added HTTP client module inside my app module folder, app module file, sorry. So I need to import it right here. I don't need to write module along with it inside my service or a component. Okay, I only need to add the module word in our app.module.ts file only. So I will use from, and that is from angular/common/http, and after that let's import our user from, and let's create our folder right here. So I'll be creating, right click app, new folder, and I will be writing models. And inside our models folder, let's create a new file, and I will name it user.model.ts. And inside it, I will create a new interface, and that interface will be used as an observable for fetching the user data from that endpoint. So I will use export interface user and name string, email string, and let's go, this is the name, username, and email. So name, username, and email, and these are the only properties that I want to use in this tutorial. So let's save it, and let's close this file, and let's import it. So I will use --/ no, and this is the models / user.model. So we have imported our model file successfully, and after that let's import our observable, because I need to import observable module in order to use that model. So I will use observable, and this is from RxJS library observable. Okay, and within our constructor I need to create http client, and after that let's create our get user observable, and that will take an array of users, and it's going to return me this .http.get of type user array. And within this function let's create a variable, a private variable, service URL, and I'm going to copy the URL right here, and I'm going to paste it for this variable. Okay, and inside my function as a parameter I will just send this .service URL. Okay, so that's it for the service. Now let's go to our component, and that component will be using this service and specifically this function to get the data of users in our component. So let's navigate to our user table component, and inside this component I need to import few things. So let's import things. Let's copy some from here. So let's import observable, paste it, and now I need to import I don't need to import HTTP client, I need to import some table modules. So I will import mat sort and mat sortable and mat table data source, and this is from Angular material. So now let's import our service, because in order to use the function of that service we need to import the service as well. So user service from let's navigate back, and I will write user service. So we have imported user service, we have imported the table modules, we have imported the observable, and that's it. And let's come down, and inside our constructor, let's create a private variable, and I will use user service from user service. All right, and above that I need to display the columns as the heading of my table. For showing the columns in my table, I will use displayed columns. And what are the properties that I want to show as my headings? So these are the three properties: name, username, and email. Okay, so let's create those. I need to have name, username, and email. All right, and after fetching the data from that service of the users, I need to put the data in a variable, and using that variable I'll be showing it in my template. So let's create a data source variable right here. Okay, so after ng on init, I'm not gonna be writing anything right now inside it. Instead, let's save it. Let's save the files, and let's navigate to our browser and see if our application is working fine and there is no error. So there is no error. Let's go to our project again, and let's open up the HTML file and remove it right here. And now let's create our table. So first of all, create a div, and inside it I will use mat table, and right here I need to provide a data source. Okay, so data source, and inside it I need to use ng container mat column def, and the first column would be name. Make sure you add the same value that I added right here: name, username, and email, and don't misspell it. Okay, so inside the ng container I can use mat header cell and static mat header cell def, and let's close it and add name right here. Okay, and after that mat cell static mat cell def, and let user dot name. Okay, so let's copy the whole container and copy it 2 more times for our email, for our username and email. Okay, so let's paste it right here, and I will change its name username, and in the third container we have the email. Okay, and after the containers we need to show the data in our rows. So I'll be using mat header row static mat header row def, and inside it I need to give the name of variable displayed columns. So let's paste it, and it has a color, and that is a primary color. And after that we need to add one last thing as mat row for displaying the data. The above line was for the heading, so mat row def equals to let row semicolon, and what are the columns? So the columns are in the displayed columns. Okay, make sure to spell it well. All right, so that's pretty much it. So you can see our headings are being shown, all right, in our table. So right now there is no data right here is being shown because we haven't written anything in our function for fetching the data and calling our service get user function. So let's write something inside our user table, and for writing it I'll be using the survey. So this dot user service dot get user dot subscribe results, and inside it let's use if the result is fetched successfully. If the result there is an error, I'm gonna return there is results. Okay, and after that I need to put the data in my data source variable. So this dot data source equals to new mat table data source, and I need to push it right here, results. So let's save it and let's go back to our browser, and you can see that the data has been fetched and we have these headings and we have these values. If we want to verify it, let's go to our this, and you can see the first name is this, the Brett and Lane Graham, and in my table we have this Brett username and Lane Graham is the name. So data is being fetched successfully. So let's go back, and our sorting is not working. Okay, so for working with the sorting I need to, you can see that I imported mat sort. Okay, so for working with the mat sort I need to use a view child module. So view child can be get from the Angular core, and that is the view child. And how to use view child? In our class I can use at view child mat sort mat sort. Okay, and now I can use this sort variable for the data source. So this dot data source dot sort equals to this dot sort. So let's go to our browser, and if I click you can see that it is not working. The reason is that we also need to set a few things in our template for making our sorting work well. So for that I need to use mat sort right here. So let's save it. And also actually I needed to add another thing, mat sort header. So in our name mat header cell I have added mat sort header, and in the main mat table element I have used the mat sort. So save both of these files, and let's go to our browser and let it reload it, and you can see that in the name we can sort all the elements using this name. And right now username and email are not enabled. The reason is that we need to add this mat sort header on all these columns. Okay, now all these columns would be showing how to sort, and you can see we can sort it with the email, username and name. And the last thing that I want to show you is just write mat sort active equals to name, and mat sort direction equals to, so by default I want this thing to be sorted in ascending order with the name. Okay, when our application run. And the last thing is let's add mat sort disable clear. So let's save it and let's go to our browser and reload it, and you can see by default it is sorted in ascending order with the name, and you can see C E G, and if I click on it, it has sorted with the descending, and our other sorting is working fine. So this tutorial has become really long because I wanted to explain you everything from the start of creating a new project. I hope that you have liked it, and if you like it, make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video and comment below if you have any question. Thanks for watching. In the next video I will be talking about in-depth working on the reactive forms in Angular, so stay tuned.